Extra is your back to school headquarters, and as kids head back to school, they may need some help in adjusting back to in-person learning, as well as seeing other students face to face.
So we wanted to know what the parents should be looking out for if their child is going through mental or emotional stress. And joining us live now from the Oregon Department of Education is Dr. B. Grace Bullock. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. I know it's been a busy and stressful time for a lot of families over the last few weeks. So how can returning to the classroom be a bit of a trigger for students this year?
I think that one of the first things we need to attend to is the fact that this is really going to be a challenging time for all of us. We're still in the midst of COVID and we don't entirely know what to anticipate. So it's important to give ourselves a little space and grace as we try to negotiate the uncertainty. But in terms of what parents can do for their children, probably the best strategy is to provide as predictable of an environment as possible: regular bedtime, regular routines, time to hang out and play together, and to make things as uneventful as possible.
What are some signs that a student is struggling mentally or emotionally? How can parents tell?
Great question. I think we can anticipate that most of us are feeling a little bit of stress, and as we know, stress tends to be contagious. And you might notice even in your own behavior that you might be a little bit more edgy or tired than normal. So in terms of parents, I would say that the number one thing to look for is changes in behavior. So if you're noticing that your child is more tired than usual, maybe more emotional than usual, not eating, not sleeping, those are the things that are important to pay attention to.
I think, kids probably have a more difficult time. I mean, even some adults struggle with this, verbalizing what is actually the root cause of some of their stress, what might be stressing them out. So how do parents handle that if they're being met with some challenging behavior at home? Do they talk with their kids? What's the next step?
I think in our interesting and very, very busy lives, one of the most important gifts we can give each other, including our kids, is just time to express themselves, maybe through art projects, maybe through just taking some time and going for a walk and saying, how are you doing today? I really do think that the gift of time is what our children need the most. And then, gentle probing questions, particularly with teenagers. If you ask them how they're doing, you'll often get, I don't know, as a response. And it's important to, find ways to connect, but not always around mental health issues. I think that just to be very gentle and do activities together. I think a lot of information comes out when we're just together in the same space.
Dr. Bullock, what resources are available out there if you do find yourself in this situation, both within the school setting and outside of it, if you need to go that far?
There are a lot of resources in place in schools. There are, a wealth of information. There are resources, there are counselors, there are school psychologists. In a little bit more of a light touch vein, the Oregon Department of Education is encouraging districts to engage in what we're calling the Care and Connection campaign. So making sure that we're spending dedicated time every day, touching base with students, engaging in activities that are fun and playful. A lot of times what we really need as people, and also this applies to children just as much, is time to be creative, time to make meaning of our experience, and that might be through art or drawing. So not everything requires a formal intervention, but if you do require a formal intervention, if you do need to speak to someone else, your local county public health office has information, and schools also have referral resources to provide to families.
So where can parents and students go to find out more? What's the best place for them to check in?
Oregon.gov/ready schools can tell families everything they need to know about the back to school experience, and also connect them to the Care and Connection campaign and a lot of other resources to help them navigate the return to school and beyond.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Very important information here, Dr. B. Grace Bullock. Thank you for joining us this morning on AM Extra.
Thank you. Have a great day.